Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. This is Snickers, baby girl. One of my many cats, and Snickers has the Saints colors going on, so she's extra beautiful, right? She's an angel, and I'm not here to talk about the cats. I'm here to talk about the Saints. I'm reviewing and reacting to this past Thursday night football's contest between Sean Payton's Denver Broncos and our beloved bless you boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, I predicted the score to be 30-14. Final score, Denver 33, Saints 10. And I'm not proud. I'm no good at picking games. I just know that this team's not very good right now. We're dealing with a lot of injuries. We're dealing with a coaching staff that's hasn't proven a lot this year. And yeah, it's my job to cover the Saints. So here we go. I'm going to pull up the stats. Oh wow. Spencer Rattler, 25 of 35, 172 yards. He was sacked 6 times. He fumbled twice. Both of them recovered by Denver. One of them returned for a touchdown. Jake Hayner came into the game at the very end and was 3 out of 4 against prevent defense for 38 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, the difference between Hayner and Rattler is Hayner knows the progression of the routes when the play's called. He can kind of more quickly read the coverage and get rid of the ball faster. He can escape, but he can't escape as good as Rattler. And, as far as arm talent and everything else, Rattler's got Hayner beat. So I'm not going to take a lot from Hayner being 3 or 4 with a touchdown. It's the best he's ever looked in a real football game. Maybe because it was prevent. I don't know. Maybe Denver was running prevent for several series. I don't know. So if Derek Carr doesn't come back next week, we can ride with Rattler again, possibly behind a healthier offensive line, or we can just go with Hayner. It's up to the team. I don't see the future of the Saints in either one of those quarterbacks. Probably more so with Rattler than Hayner, but for this system and the rest of this year, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to bet any money on it, that's for sure. Either one's going to struggle, that's for sure. Running the ball, Kendre Miller, 6 carries, 36 yards. That's an average of 6 yards a carry. Spencer Rattler scrambled 5 times for 34 yards, 6.8 a carry. Jamal Williams had 3 carries for 17 yards. That's 5.7 a carry. And you look at those numbers and you think the Saints running game's not doing bad at all. Except your leading ball carrier was Alvin Kamara with 7 carries. And he only had 10 yards. 1.4 yards a carry per Kamara. Maybe they were ignoring the run when Kamara wasn't in there. I don't know. That's pretty awful. Altogether, the Saints had 21 rushes for 97 yards, 4.6 yards a carry. Yeah, they didn't run the ball enough, though. Denver, on the other hand, had 225 rushing yards, 6.4 yards a carry. I think Denver ran the ball like at least 31 times. So Devontae Williams, whoever, last week it was the same thing. Shane, whoever. You allow 500 yards in 2 games rushing. In 2 games, you've allowed 500 yards rushing. And we didn't play Barry Sanders, and we didn't play Walter Payton. No, we played Shane, whoever, and Devontae Williams, whoever. This is an awful defense. Wow. But let's finish with the offense first. Receiving the ball, Cedric Wilson, Was targeted 7 times. He had 6 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. Mason Tipton was targeted 9 times. He had 6 catches for 45 yards. Foster Moreau, 2 targets, 2 catches, 38 yards. Bub Means, 5 targets, 3 catches, 37 yards. Juwan Johnson, 6 targets, 3 catches, 18 yards. Alvin Kamara, 7 targets, 6 catches, 14 yards. Wow, Alvin Kamara was the least productive player on the field. Kendre Miller, 2 catches for a total of 1 yard. He was targeted 3 times. So, yeah, that's a murderer's row of receivers right there, huh? Wow. Not impressive. But what are you going to do? The Saints are suffering with injuries right now. The offense is completely beat up. We all know it. Derek Carr's out. Chris Olave out. Rashid Shaheed out for the year now. You've got Lucas Patrick, who has been out. Eric McCoy, who's been on IR. Cesar Ruiz out. Yeah, it's not much going on. Taysom Hill out. Saw Taysom on the sideline all game long. Him and Derek Carr talking to the quarterbacks, not getting hit, probably getting healthy. Paulson Adebo gets hurt in the game, breaks his leg. He's going to have surgery and he's going to be out for the rest of the year. Let's talk about the defense. Jordan Howden led the team with 8 total tackles. Demario Davis had 7 total tackles. Alontae Taylor had 7 total tackles and a pass defensed. Paulson Adebo had 6 total tackles and 1 holding penalty before he broke his leg. Tyrann Mathieu had 5 total tackles, and he had a ball thrown right to him, and it looked like he was looking for his route to the end zone before he ever caught the ball. And he didn't catch it. He dropped it. That was a moment in the game that we could have turned things around, perhaps. This team needs a spark. Tyrann Mathieu can provide that spark if he holds on to that interception. Taysom Hill is a spark plug for the offense, always has been. So, yeah, not a lot going on as far as sparks. Marshawn Lattimore, 4 total tackles before he pulled a hamstring and had to leave the game. Anthony Orji, 4 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. Carl Granderson, 3 total tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. You had 4 other players with 3 total tackles. Brian Bresee, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cam Jordan, Jonathan Abram. Willie Gay had 2 total tackles. He also had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. One of the better plays of the game. Yeah, and that's it. I can't give this defense credit. They were awful again. They looked like they were in molasses. They looked slow. The defensive line looked pathetic. No sacks on Bo Nix. Awful. Rashid was out, and he's going to be out the rest of the year. So we brought up Jermaine Jackson to be our punt and kick returner. Jackson had an average kickoff return of 25 yards, which is really good. He had 1 punt return for 13 yards. Jermaine Jackson may be a player that's going to end up on our active roster because we need a kick returner and a punt returner. And yeah, Jermaine Jackson is 5'9", 175 pounds soaking wet. So not much of a wide receiver, I don't know. We'll have to see. Blake Grupe was fine. He made his field goal. He made his extra point. Matthew Hayball punted 6 times for an average of 44.5 yards. 3 of those 6 punts were inside the 20. So Hayball doing okay. All right, the story of the game. We're not stopping the run. The defense looks awful. That's the story of the game. I don't care how inept the offense is. We're learning about the offense every day with these new players out there. We're learning who we're going to keep and who we aren't. At one point, Nick Saldiveri got hurt and had to leave the game, and we had to put Kyle Hergel in there, the undrafted guy from think Boston College, and I thought Hergel looked good. There was one pressure that was allowed by Fuanga. Hergel played the blocking protection correct. Fuanga didn't come off of there and go to the extra rusher fast enough. It definitely wasn't Hergel's responsibility. It was Fuanga. Fuanga let the guy go through. That was one of the forced fumbles. Uh, I'm sure Trevor Penning messed up a few times out there too, but it's kind of wild when this mashup of players in the middle of the offensive line, and we're sitting here like, well, thank goodness the tackles are okay, and the tackles are not okay. They're learning too. It's a struggle. I I don't know. Somebody's going to have to do the all 22 and tell me where Kyle Hergel screwed up because I watched him constantly once he got in the game, and I didn't see him mess up very much. So, not I mean, if at all. So maybe Hergel should have been at center for us the whole time. So as far as the offense goes, we got a week and a half. So we're gonna hopefully get Lucas Patrick back at left guard. Hopefully we'll get Cesar Ruiz back at right guard. Then we'll just have to put somebody there at center. McCoy's probably gonna miss next game, and then hopefully we can get him back after that. It seems like Carr's probably gonna miss the next game too. But with this week and a half off, we may see a lot of players come back. So Carr may come back. Olave's probably going to come back from the concussion. Taysom Hill will probably be back. Alvin Kamara should be healthier. Yeah, so Lucas Patrick come back. Cesar Ruiz come back. You know, and our offense will be a little more healthy, and maybe we'll see a better product out there. Maybe the offense is actually somewhere between what we saw the first two games of the year and what we've been seeing in the last couple of games. Maybe we can average 24 points a game, which is all I really expect out of an offense. The defense, I expect them to hold every team to under 20 points. So, of course, you're allowing 16 points in the first half, 17 points in the second half. The defense is just not doing their job. We're not going to win very many games if you're allowing 33 points. I know they had a touchdown return fumble, so, it's not all on the defense, but defense needs to force some turnovers and make some scores too. We need help. We need points from the special teams. We need points from the defense. We're not generating it from the offense. Third downs, Denver was 4 of 11. We were 5 of 17. Yeah, not very good. On fourth down, we were 3 of 4. Not bad. What's bad is you having to go for it on fourth down four times. But we were 3 of 4. We actually ran more plays than Denver. We had 66 plays. They had 61, but we were averaging half as many yards per play as they were. Red zone, once again, not very good for the defense. Second week in a row where our red zone's faltering. Denver was 2 of 3 in the red zone. We were 1 of 2 in the red zone, which is 50% and still pretty good. I think we were 50% last week. But yeah, 50% ain't good when you're only getting in the red zone twice. I'm surprised we crossed the 50-yard line at all. Denver crossed the 50-yard line every time they had the ball. Time of possession, Denver had it for 33 minutes. We had it for 27 minutes. So altogether, Tyrann Mathieu dropping that interception, I believe it was in the third quarter. That was a chance for us to get on the board earlier in the second half, make this game a 16-10 contest. If we could have turned that interception, into something, but Mathieu drops the ball. Yeah, not good. I'm not excited about it. That little girl right there is Star. She showed up one day and just walked in the house, and she hadn't left. So she's our new cat now. We call her Star. She reminds us of a cat of ours that passed away a few years ago. I thought she was a reincarnation at first when she just walked into the house. She's ours now. And that voice buttons. I talk about my cats when I can. I have 14 of them now. That Star's here. She's a little starlight, starbright, but she's younger than the rest of them, and she's a firecracker. We need some firecrackers on the Saints. So what are we going to do? We're not going to fire Dennis Allen. Pardon me. The Saints are not going to fire Dennis Allen. We all want to. We all see the writing on the wall. We're 32nd in the league in yards allowed per game. We've allowed 500 yards rushing in the last two games. We've allowed so many points. I mean, 80 something points in the last two games. And Dennis Allen's calling card is his defense. He's not a very good head coach. The team doesn't look like they're playing hard for him. The defensive scheme isn't working anymore. Now, this is kind of like writing it out with Pete Carmichael last year. Like you realize halfway through it that this is over with. And that's what's happening this year. It's over with. How we go about rebuilding this team, I don't know. Mickey Loomis apparently is king. Apparently, Gail Benson's not going to fire Mickey Loomis. If Gail Benson wants to get rid of Mickey Loomis, she's going to have to sell the team. That's what I keep hearing, that she's not going to do it on her own. Maybe there's some contractual obligation she has with Mickey Loomis. I don't know. I don't know. He's not going to fire himself. He's not going to draft better players. He's always going to have that asinine mentality of, well, why would we pass up a one really good player and try to draft a bunch of lesser players? No, let's package all of our picks up to move up and get one guy that's going to be the savior. And he's never the savior. The reason why this team sucks right now is because we don't have adequate depth and we don't have good starters. And that comes from the draft. And it comes from free agency when you have money. So you're always strapped for cash because you're paying too many older players too much money. You end up extending these older players; they get even older. Then all of a sudden, you're in a situation where you're paying someone like Alvin Kamara, who's 30 years old and is losing a step, $20 million a year or something like that. You're in a position now where you're paying Cameron Jordan what 13, $20 million this year, and we already know he's no good. He's not. He shouldn't be on the field anyway. That's the situation this team's in. How are you going to rebuild? You're going to have to cut loose everybody. You're going to have to take one more fatal blow to your salary cap next year when you trade all this garbage. Anything that you can collect and trade. I don't care if you're only getting a 6th round pick for it. Just get rid of the old dead weight players. Start from scratch. Uh, Trade down in this year's draft and build up your roster with a bunch of young, cheap players. That's how you start. You get rid of the dead weight. You take the salary cap hit this one more year. Bam, take it all. Because we get some relief after this year, regardless of what we do with these players. If we don't start restructuring and re signing all of these old players, we can find some serious cap relief after this year. So I say, why even mess around with it? Trade everybody on this team that you can trade. That's not going to cost you too much, and recoup as many picks as you can get. And fire Dennis Allen. That means Clint Kubiak, everybody goes, and you're going to have to start from scratch. My suggestion is you go and grab one of the offensive coordinators we missed out on, and you go grab them to be our head coach. That way you can hire them away from the team they're on. Zach Robinson with the Falcons. There's no way to get the head coach from Green Bay because he'll never leave that job as long as they want him. I'd love to have him because it seems like he knows how to coach a team. Wins games with Malik Willis at quarterback. Makes Jordan Love look like a stud. Everybody's wondering if he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It's because the head coach of Green Bay is a good play caller and puts them in a position every time to win. They got a lot of good players. You got a lot of offensive coordinators. The guy in Detroit, make him the new head coach. Steal him from Detroit. That would be a nice little culture to have. He's a good offensive coordinator. Who's another one? Shoot, coordinator for the Rams. Go get him. Make him the head coach. Yeah. Then you can hire Robert Saleh as your new defensive coordinator. Shit, go. Pardon my French. Go hire Vance Joseph from Denver. Go take his ass from Denver. Make him the new head coach for the Saints. Then Sean Payton will be looking for DC. He can hire Dennis Allen, and then they can have the old group back over there. That's the suggestions I got right now. There's no good news here. The Saints are awful. I don't see them turning it around. I don't really want to see them turn it around. I mean, I want them to win. I want them to look good. They're just not good. And if they do manage to win a couple of games and look good, I'm going to feel like we're right back where we started this year. I can't have faith that the team's going to maintain that. So I'll be cheering for my boys either way, but at the same time, I'm also going to preserve my sanity. So if you're a Saints fan, I'm a Saints fan. Let's talk about it. Subscribe to my channel, Rosenfield 10. I'll tell you my honest feelings about everything. I don't provide the news. I'm just a friend or a coworker who loves the Saints. You can come around, ask me what I think, and I'll let you know. You tell me what you think by putting it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel because I will be looking at the draft pretty hard. And I usually do that in the off season, but I'll be doing it a lot during the season too if this is the product we're going to see on the field the rest of the year. I got a mock coming up where I'm trading every dead piece player on the team, and we're going to get as much draft capital as we can, and we're going to hit the board. So, subscribe to Rosenfield 10. That'll be an interesting one. Yeah, I'm trading everybody. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?